Java is an object-oriented language, and that means, of course, that it follows the tenets of object-oriented programming. And so objects are these things that encapsulate the data, operations, and usage semantics. In other words, it's that what you want to work on and how you work with it are kind of packaged up in this idea of an object. Objects allow the storage and manipulation details of things to be hidden, right? So that when someone's working with an object, they focus on what they want to have done. It's not their concern on how it's done, right? The class implementer or the object implementer actually focuses on the how. The consumer or user just focuses on the what, right? So that's a really powerful idea that allows us to build more complex programs. The way we get to objects in Java is through classes. Classes provide a structure for describing and creating our objects. In other words, the classes are the things that we use to be able to describe our objects and then be able to instantiate them, bring them into existence to be worked with. Basically, a class is a template for creating an object. So the idea is that when we want to declare a class, we use the class keyword followed by the class name. Now normally, when we create our classes, we put them in their own source file, and that source file will have the same name as the class itself. There are some caveats to that we'll talk about shortly, but in most cases, your source file name would simply be the class name.java. Now the body of the class is then just contained inside of brackets. You have an opening bracket and a closing bracket. And that's where the contents of the class are going to go, all inside of there. Now we mentioned that classes have both the state and what we want to do with it, right? So the idea is that a class has the data inside of it and all of its executable code. So this captures kind of three general ideas, right? Is that the state itself is in what we call fields, right? So if we look at our class flight we've declared here, it's got two fields in it, right? They're both integers, one for passengers and one for seats. Classes also have methods, right? This is the executable code that's going to manipulate the state and perform any operations, right? So in this case, our class has a method called add1passenger, and basically when someone calls that, it makes sure that there's enough seats available, and as long as there is, it goes ahead and adds another passenger. And then there's what are called constructors. Constructors are kind of special case executable code. This is code that gets run during the creation of an object, largely to set the initial state. So we've got here a constructor that basically starts out by setting seats to 150 and our passengers to 0. So basically means that when we create a flight, that flight has 150 seats on it.